Hi guys, this is a special Tez Talk for me today. I'm here with one of my dear friends, Candace and Dell.
Hello.
We have known each other for a long time.
Years.
2007, I think we first met.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, it's scary.
Old.
I know. And it's funny, we've been hanging out a lot lately and I feel so incredibly inspired by this woman. She is so remarkable, and you have a master's in spiritual psychology?
Yeah, I did a 2-year program in spiritual psychology. It's a master's program.
That's amazing.
It was
and
amazing.
It's definitely a subject that I obviously am so interested in. I'm doing these Tez Talks and having your Zen life, and it was just really nice to pick her brains because I knew that she actually knew what she was talking about. So I thought we'd have her on today so we can pick her brains and find out what spiritual psychology is all about. Do you want to start there and just kind of explain what it is?
Yeah, it's so funny. In normal psychology, they say that we're humans having a spiritual experience, and in spiritual psychology, it's your soul having a human experience. So that's really the beginning of it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and so really what spiritual psychology focuses on is learning how to heal yourself from inside. And I know we hear a lot about that outside, you know, how, it's inner work, it's inner work. It is, but you need the tools to be able to actually facilitate that.
Okay.
So spiritual psychology is really healing an upset, I'm upset because, or something that triggers you for the last time by bringing it into the soul level of healing.
Wow. And those things usually stemmed from childhood? Are they just trauma?
All of them, usually.
Okay.
And what they do is they create negative patterns in your life that you feel are out of your control and you think is happening to you. But what we learn is that it's happening for you. And
there's a gift
there's a gift in all of it. But you have to become really aware of the emotional and mental triggers and things that make you, the ego that makes you it tells you something that's not true about the situation, so you start believing it and then recreating it. So what spiritual psychology really does is talking to that pain, talking to that fear, and learning how to hear the love voice rather than the fear voice, and then shift it.
Is that really difficult? I'm sure, like, for most people, that is a really scary thing to do.
It can be really difficult if you don't have a coach or if you don't have steps or strategies to put names to things and really outline, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? Is that a thought or is that the truth? A lot of people have a hard time that come to me. They'll know their intuition. They'll know that inner voice, but they don't know how to decipher if that's the truth or if that's fear. So we go through all that.
And how do you do that? Do you go back through someone's past and you talk about certain things that have come up for them and what maybe their triggers are?
Yeah, of course. In a session, how it starts is we'll talk about what's the issue.
Okay.
What is the issue that's happening? Many times it's an issue that's happened a lot. And I look at my own life and I can see how that was such a theme.
Okay, yeah.
So,
me too.
Right?
I feel like we all have so many patterns like that.
We do.
And I guess it's about returning back to that place of the non-pattern, which is difficult because...
The truth.
Yeah, I guess that's what the truth
self
is. True self.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that take a long time? Is that a very long, tedious process?
Here's the funny thing about my job now. When I have clients, I mean, it's great, but it's like you have to realize that you're going to have a client, they're going to come 1 to 3 times and life changes occur. Because what happens is we sit in that issue and we center ourselves in our loving, our authentic self. And there's breathing exercises, but it's also more about learning to understand the inner counselor. So instead of other people's opinions and things happening outside, you learn to tune in.
Oh, that's so good.
And that's actually a quick process. And then after a couple, there's people that come to me 3 times and they're like, oh my God, my job changed. What starts happening is things shift fast, but then there's this point where you almost need that support. Like a couple girls that I coach now, they come back just for support to know that they're on the right track. It's a tune-up. Yeah. It's more like, oh, those scary things are happening, but they're not scary, and here's why.
Okay.
And then it's almost like a confirmation of what they already know, so it strengthens the inner knower. It strengthens the guidance. And so it's living authentically rather than from a societal view of things.
Okay. I think that's so important right now.
It is.
And also what I really love about that is we always talk about, when you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. And when you teach a man to fish, he eats her
That's
entire
exactly what it
lifetime.
is.
And I love the notion of you teaching them to help themselves, because I think whenever you source, you know, happiness or source healing from an external place, you're never actually going to have longevity in that healing or in that happiness.
Well, I can tell you, you're absolutely right. It's about wholeness. I like to call myself a wholeness counselor, but people are like, what is that? So I don't go there, but I can tell you about a time, this is how it all changed for me, when I had a major heartbreak.
Okay, yeah.
And what I tell my clients, because so many people go through that,
I'm sure,
is it's the time when you break open. Your heart opens the most.
Oh, wow.
And we don't know how to deal with that. So what we do is we try to fill it with a new love. It's like love addiction. Or we fill it with like clothes or money or all these things that we don't want to do the work yet or
fill the void.
Fill the void. We don't know that we can actually fill it with ourselves.
Yeah.
So about 3 years ago, I had the last of that terrible pattern, and I said, okay, I'm going to get real. I'm going to get honest, which is the first step in healing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get honest, and I went to school for this, and I took myself out of my career, out of my social scene, and all I wanted to do was listen inside. And when I got to that place of developing that voice, which is what I do with my clients, it was like everything outside was synchronistic and aligned with my truth, rather than trying to fill it so I could never get to that truth.
That's beautiful. I love that. So are there, I mean, we have here, like, are there any specific steps in, like, facilitating that type of healing? Like, are there certain things to do?
There's about 28 different strategies that I use with people, like, at different times. I won't outline them now because it'll take a million years. But
like a few examples, like meditation or...
Sure. Well, one thing is that I love is how you relate to the issue is the issue. So you can say this is happening to me, but I'm seeing that happening, but how you're relating to it is what's really happening.
That's so true, yeah.
So we work with that. We work with the relation. Say someone cut you off in the car the other day, and we're fuming.
Yeah.
So I let you sit with that feeling, and then I say, what does that remind you of? Like, when else has that happened to you, that feeling? And you start seeing a pattern of, oh, it's a belief I have about people treating me unfairly. And then you go, oh, that happened the first time when you were 3. And things like that start happening. So that's one of the facilitations, is how you relate to the issue. Another one of my favorite ones is, oh my gosh, there's so many. But going inside, and when you're meditating and you say, oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking, I can't stop thinking.
I know.
It's almost like a fear of peace.
So I feel like I get that so much.
So that facilitation is, what is so scary to you about success? Because all success comes from peace. All happiness comes from peace. So then we work with that, and it all comes down to a core fear or misinterpretation.
Wow.
In every way.
Okay, right.
And when you start eradicating those ego fears, you start literally getting comfortable with a place of peace and joy, and it's inside. And then what starts happening is people get really scared because outside starts changing a lot. That's this fear. And then people go back to the pattern.
They retreat back.
Right.
Sure.
But how to facilitate a way of staying in that flow is to really have the awareness that it's happening for me. It's all happening for me.
It's not happening to you.
It's not happening
or
to
against
me.
you.
So it's not going to be scary. It's not going to be bad. But everyone's like, oh my God, everything's changing. I'm scared. I'm out of control. It's complete ego. That's not truth at all.
Wow. Yeah, I'm reading Eckhart Tolle's book at the moment, A New Earth, which is all about eradicating the ego. And I love it so much because it's something we all have, and it pops up in so many different ways every single day. And it's like, can be really treacherous.
Oh my gosh, it can take you down. It took me down for years.
Yeah, I know, me too.
I mean, it was like, are you kidding me? How is this happening in my life? And what you really start to understand is, I'm creating all of it.
All of it. It's all self-inflicted.
All of it.
I always talk about the little mind movies that we create. We tell ourselves, these are the truths. This is what is happening to me. But I love that practice, like even just sitting and really listening to the feeling and sitting in it, as scary as and as vulnerable as I'm sure that feels, it's really healing.
Well, the truth is, the only way to eradicate fear or the ego is to face it.
And to lean into
Talk to it. Don't give it power over you. Take the power back. And one of the ways I do this with people is, loving it.
Forgiving
yourself for having that feeling. Most people are like, I don't feel like that. That's
Yeah.
not true.
Judge
That
it.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
Actually, that is real. And you are
Uh-huh.
feeling that. And you have to forgive yourself for judging yourself for feeling
Yeah.
that. And send it love.
And then how can you be sure that what's truth and what's the pattern?
Well, anything negative or scary is ego.
Is ego. Okay.
And the only truth is love. And we hear
Yeah.
that a lot. And people are like, what does that mean? I'm in love with that person. No,
Yeah. It feels general sometimes. It's
Very
like,
general.
Just go to the love. It's like, how do people do that?
Well, yeah. At the beginning of every single session I have with people, we sit for 3 minutes. I set the alarm because people are like, oh my God, I can't meditate. It takes forever. 3 minutes. And you feel that peace. That's your truth. That's love. That is any reaction that comes to you, if it's not met with that, you can guarantee it's probably not from wholeness. You can guarantee it's probably a fear or a pattern. And so what is the difference? If you're feeling stress, or like yesterday, I had this photo shoot and it happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
And I started feeling this perfectionism pattern come back up. And I was like, oh, that's really funny, actually. I'm like, what is it I'm fearing? And then I talked myself into it. I was like, nothing, actually. Nothing. What I'm fearing is this old stuff that's not true.
Yeah.
And so I got to get rid of it, and I sat with it, and I just saw it, and I said, I see you. I know what you're trying to do, and I actually know better now. And literally, it was gone.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
And I walked in, and it was like happiness. And my makeup artist said to me, last night we were walking to the car. I love you, Stephanie. And she said to me, you know, I just want to let you know that you're so happy, and it's really inspiring. Like, everything you're doing right now, there's like happiness. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, because I got to talk to that fear before I walked into that environment.
Before it even
But if I carried that with me, I would have not have gotten that comment.
No. Oh, that's
but it's
so
important
beautiful.
to know it's a constant thing.
Yeah.
You have to work on it every day. It doesn't just go away and your life's perfect.
No.
It is a daily practice.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. And then I hear a lot about universal truths, universal laws. What is that, and can you share some universal laws and truths with us?
Yes. Universal truths are not the things that you hear about in society. Truths that are really deep and they live in your heart.
Okay.
And so when you get in touch with that wisdom, it's almost like the integrity behind it. It's almost like universal truths are all based in love. Universal truths are about when you're in that space of love, synchronicities happen. You're like, oh, that's a universal truth.
Totally.
That's a law.
When you start seeing things happening, serendipitous things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're in alignment with those truths.
Totally.
We're all governed by those truths, but our ego is the thing that steps in and makes things get really ugly and chaotic and not synchronistic, and there's a bunch of things that happen. You're like, oh my gosh, I just can't get my shit together. That's when you're not in a line.
Yeah.
When you are is when you're literally functioning from that place of compassion, love. Self-love is huge. People think, oh my gosh, you have such an ego. No, that's the opposite.
I've talked about that before in a Tez Talk.
Self-love.
It is the opposite. You
It's
absolutely
the opposite.
need that.
Because I feel you can't truly love yourself until you completely become honest with yourself. Yeah. And then when you fully love yourself, you're able to see the love in everyone else.
Absolutely.
And it's like this ripple effect.
And you have much more healthy relationships with everyone around you.
Something that happened to me recently, even when we started talking, which was funny.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
We should
tell that story.
I know. I'm like worried because we've got 14
no
minutes. We
time.
have like 1 more minute left.
So this is what I'll say about that is when you fully love yourself, you step into your purpose. And your true purpose is always serving others. And when you do that, you connect with the other souls that are here to actually complete your mission with you, like you. Yeah. How that happened, we had a dream, same time. And
exact same time. We haven't spoken to each other in so long.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So that's how I feel universal laws work, is when you're in alignment, you attract others that are in line with your purpose.
Ah, that's so beautiful. Yeah. I love it. I feel so inspired when I'm around you. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed that. She is just an absolute ray of sunshine. And I will put her details in the YouTube, so if anyone wants to do a coaching with her.
Yeah, I love it. Love.
Okay.
That's all I love doing.
All right, guys. Mwah. Sending love. Bye.